let me start there. For the past now few lectures since I began with all of you last Wednesday, I've been constantly reciting one verse in the khutbah from Surah Isra, verse number 106, where Allah describes the revelation of the Quran as, وَنَزَّلْنَاهُ تَنزِيلًا. We revealed the Quran in pieces, in parts. However, in this verse that I read for you in the khutbah, the first verse from Surah Qadr, Inna anzalnahu fi laylatil qadr, right? The tanzil and anzal discussion, of course, has to happen tonight. A lot of my youth have a lot of questions about the Quran's revelation, because the confusion is that we hold a massive Jashan in the month of Rajab called Jashan al-Ba'athat on the 27th of Rajab, where, of course, we celebrate the declaration of the prophethood of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And in there, we talk about the event of the Cave of Hira and the revelation of the first 5 verses of Surah Alaq. And by doing so, we announce that to be the beginning, and we believe, as the Shi'as believe, that that was an actual revelation of the Quranic verses. Okay? The question then is, which one is it? Is it, was the Quran revealed in that cave on the night of the 27th of Rajab, and on that night when he was mab'uth, or is it on this night of Qadr? Because both of them now, Quran refers to itself being revealed by 2 different philosophies, 2 different approaches. One is the idea of, nazzalnahu tanzila. One is anzal or inzal, the idea of, and the difference is that one is revelation in stages, in degrees. The other one is a instantaneous revelation of the Quran. Okay. One is, what we refer to in the world of Farsi as tadriji, daraja by daraja, level by level, bit by bit, and this one is daf'i, right? All at once. And the reality is that ulama have done a lot of bahas on this and ulum al-Quran. And it was, when I had read this in the Hausa and my teacher had explained this to us, I thought that this was probably the most clear explanation to this concept. And that was that it's both, actually. And it's Allama Tabatabai rahmatullah alayh, in his genius way, where he says that every existence has an esoteric dimension and an exoteric dimension, has a batin, an esoteric, and a zahir, exoteric. Right? There is a hidden and an apparent. Anything you look at in the universe, its actual or its complete existence is not always represented by what you see with your naked eye. For example, the human being. There is an outer form to me, there's an inner form to me. Okay? The soul and body discussion. Okay. He says that while every existence has a batin and a zahir, the Quran also is no different. The Quran has a batin, the Quran has a zahir. In fact, we have a hadith by a holy prophet that says that when a verse was revealed, it was also accompanied with the batin of the verse and the zahir of the verse. And you've heard these verses, these ahadith many times, 7 levels, 70 levels to each verse, right? So, if we understand the idea that there is the exoteric and the esoteric dimension of the Quran, then maybe now this reconciliation is qabil hal. This idea that now we understand exactly, it is a little bit of both. The Quran was revealed across 23 years. Now, some say 20 years. There was 3 years of the Fatrat period, but that's not very mashhur. 23 years across the Prophet's prophethood, starting off with Iqra, of course, ending off, some say, with the verse of Riba into the Baqarah. That was also one revelation, and there's reasons for that is outside of our discussion. But also on this night, the nuzul al-dafa'i of the Quran occurred. That instantaneous revelation of the Quran onto the heart of the Holy Prophet. Now, what's the difference? The difference is that the core reality of the Quran, like for example, again, I'll take it back to us as human beings. Our core reality are not our eyes and ears and hands and legs. Our core reality is our soul, is our spirit, is our soul. right? It's our ruh, right? That's what's going to move on, right? What made Nabi Adam qabil sajda was وَنَفَخْتُ فِيهِ مِنْ رُوحِي, that Allah blew in him from my spirit, he says, right? I blew in him from my spirit. That's what made the hukam is فَقَعُوا لَهُ سَاجِدِينَ, now fall down to sajda. So so worthwhile. It wasn't about, فَإِذَا سَوَيْتُمْ, it wasn't about the surah, the form, no. So the actual haqiqi reality of the human being lies in the hidden world. And the Quran is no different. What was revealed to the Holy Prophet on this night, the revelation of the Quran, Inna anzalnahu fi laylatil qadr, on this night we have revealed it. This it, of course, is the Quran, but the it is the reality of the Quran, the inner dimension of the Quran, the haqiqat of the Quran. Yes, 23 years, we have one verse here, one surah here, one batch of verses here. That, of course, is historically all been narrated and been documented very well. So this is a night of the celebration of the nuzul al-daf'i of the Quran. For my young guys out there to understand this, a little bit of history. This is that Quran where the encompassing now message has come down all at once. Okay? And it is meant to be a night of celebration. It's meant to be a night of excitement. It's meant to be a night where Allah refers to it as Mubarak, refers to it as Salam, as a peaceful night, as a night, where it is a night of revival, of ahya, of the idea of now, not just waking up and staying up, but a night of awakening as well. Okay, I really want to take a different approach tonight. There's a lot of individuals now who approach this night with a lot of nerves and fear and anxiety and a pit in their stomach. They're scared of the night of Qadr because it's just so intimidating. The concept and the idea is daunting, that, oh my God, in this one night, my next 12 months will be laid out. What if I don't get this night right? What if I, for 5 minutes now, and end up talking about things that are fuzuli and dunyai? What if that 5 minutes was my life or my death or my marriage or my kids or my business or my home or my health? Who knows? So a lot of people have a lot of spiritual anxiety, a lot of spiritual fear. And so what calms them down is this checklist. Okay, the amal, for example, Raf'i Masahif is done. The amal of the Quran on the head is done. Okay, Joshna Kabir, check, is done. Maqam al-Akhlaq is done, check. Alhamdulillah. Dukhan and Ankabut and Room are checked. And they feel that, okay, I'm getting somewhere. But the ruh of the ibadat is not there. The spirit of that worship is not there. And I want to somehow now prepare myself, before any of you, to now enter this banquet of Allah by ensuring that I make one connection tonight with Him. One connection. I want all of you to look at this night as a night of quality, not quantity. I'm not saying those amal are not there. I'm not saying, you can do do as much as you can. I'm not trying to minimize all of these various amal that have been sent down to us by our Ahlul Bayt. And by the way, a lot of you should know, and you do know, I want you to treat these things as prescriptions of the soul. We go to the doctor and he gives us a very specific prescription, right? Take this medicine before breakfast 3 times a day with water, on an empty stomach, on a full stomach, blah, blah, blah. Very specifically now, with timing sometimes, with instructions, and we follow that to a T because he knows what he's talking about. He is a doctor. These types of amal, 70 times here, 10 times here, 7 times here, all those things are prescriptions and they're nuskhas for us of our soul by the Ahlul Bayt. So if the Ahlul Bayt say 70 times, we have to do 70 times. Well, I feel like 75 times. It says 70, do 70. 10 times here, 7 times here. All those things are very, very important. Okay? Treat it as a prescription, like you would fill any other prescription. You're filling that prescription tonight as well. Okay? But I ask you, any of you now who are entering this night shaking and this nervousness and this heaviness in their chest, and I humbly request you, understand, there's a beautiful line in the dua for the month of Rajab. وَمَنْ يُعْتِ الْكَثِيرَ بِالْقَلِيلِ. Right? Allah is the one who gives a lot, gives kathir, kathrat, in exchange for qalil, for qillat, for for very little. Meaning that someone like me, of course, approaching this night of Shab Qadr, who am I and where is the night of Qadr? This Quran revelation, right? The descension of all of the angels at once, right? And the Imam of our time hosting these angels, right? This Mubarak night, this peaceful night, this night of revival, night of awakening. And where am I? This disgusting, disgraceful servant of God. Makes mistake after mistake, sin after sin, have a horrible past. Where am I and where this night? So naturally, we feel like I don't belong in this night. Asad, right? Fine, I'll go through, the Bika Ya Allah, that's fine, but I don't really, on top of that, I don't know how to approach the night. So I'm here to ask you, please, remind yourself that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala just requires an inch from us. Okay? Push yourself to the best of your ability. But those moments now in the night where you are tired, those moments where you don't feel like reading the Quran or the du'as, then don't. Then don't. Simply now being present in the nights is a lot. Being present in the night is a lot. During the Hajj rituals, during the manasik of Hajj, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala simply is asking us to be in Arafah. That's it. Just be present. The land itself is so Mubarak that you will benefit just by stepping foot on that land. Yes, Dua Arafah we recite, we have this amal, we might have a speech here, there, and there, but those are almost mustahabaks. All we're asked to do from Zuhr to Maghrib is just be in Arafah. Just be there. Let everything else take its course. This is a night where we just have to be in that night. If you decide, if you feel like, you know what, I want to do it, I feel good, Josh al-Kabir is my most favorite dua subhi, fine. But when you feel like you're not, when you feel spiritually a little bit drained, and you're bound to feel drained, you cannot maintain that height now from 10 p.m. till about 4 a.m., for 6 hours, it's too much to ask, then take a break, take a moment. Try to be conscious in this night. Try to be, awake at this night. Try to be present and mindful in this night. It's not a night of a checklist. It's not a night of quantity. Ye par liya, wo par liya, wo par liya. Yes, that's important. I'm please, I don't want to get in trouble here. But what's the point of all of that if we can't, for one line of Josh al-Kabir, does it reach our soul? Okay? So please understand that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is Ya Sari al-Ridha. He's easily pleased. He's one who gives a lot in exchange for a little. He's somebody who simply wants, he himself. Now, when he hosts us, right now, he's our host. And this is the biggest banquet of the year for us. This is the night now that we've all been waiting for. In that month, when now he has described this month through the Holy Prophet as the idea anfasakum fihi tasbih wa nawmukum fihi ibadah. The month is so Mubarak, the month is so blessed that you're breathing. So just breathe is glorification of God, and your sleep is worship. Okay. On top of that, so that's point number 2 now. And I want to throw a lot at you guys. I just want to kind of clear the mind here. Number 3 is the idea of, and I don't want to go into the idea of qada wa qadar and what does that mean and this and that. No, this is an opportunity Allah now has bestowed upon us. And if not for anything else, then to understand, oh insan, you have the ability to worship Allah to the point where worship on this one night is better than anything you could do the next 1,000 months. Meaning that you have the potential, the capability, you have the dharfiyat, you have the ability now to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in one night and change the direction of your life. All that is within you. And sometimes we don't believe it. Sometimes you guys talk like that on the member, but I don't really believe it inside myself until God says, I'll show you. And I remember growing up in the center, doing the amal, I look around, I would see people that I wouldn't see all year round. I would see young guys that, had to call for directions to the center because they never come. Something about this night that's intriguing, maybe a little bit magnetic as well. People think, wow, God has allowed me to sit in that meeting where my 12 months now are discussed. Imam Raba alayhi salatu wasalam describes this is the night now, and the Ahlul Bayt have made it very clear that the ambiguity of which night is it, 19, 21, 23, 27. The Ahlul Bayt has it, if there is the closest of the nights, it is on this night, the 23rd night. And this is where now Imam says that for 1 year, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, through the angels now, begins now to pave the path of the destiny of the insan. Your life and your death, your health, your risk, everything. Now imagine sleeping the night away. I get it. It's in the middle of the week. You have work, you have school, you might have assignments, all that. Do your best to stay awake. If you can't, if your child needs you, if your baby needs you, if you're working on a term paper, do something where you are fulfilling an obligation of yours, because that's also worship. Worship is the fulfillment of an obligation on your head. Either it's the obligation Allah now has placed or someone else has placed. Right? So, it's important that we approach this night, understanding this is an opportunity for us. And if we gain nothing out of it but just to be present in this night, that's great. There's some of us, unfortunately, who will stay up for this speech, stay up for Maulana's speech, and then sleep the rest of the night away. There are those who are sleeping right now to prepare for the night, right? There are those who have already begun their preparation. In the daytime, took a nap, let's say, for example, I don't know, made their mornings at work a little bit light in terms of meetings, let's say, for example, right? Maybe, the teachers aren't going to teach as much in the mornings. I have no idea. But this preparation and the approach should be a level of excitement, if I can use that word. We are celebrating the birth of the Quran. We celebrate the birth of our kids. We have decorations. We have this festive mood. We celebrate the birth of the imams. We have decorations. We have whatnot. Amazing sha'iri, beautiful kalams, an amazing speech. And the birth of the Quran on this night should also be somewhat of a celebratory approach. The previous 2 nights was right in the middle of the ayam gham, in those sad days. But now, alhamdulillah, those days we've moved on. Let's approach this night as a night of hope. Let's approach this night that, God, I know I don't belong in this night, but I also know that the doors of your mercy are wide open for everybody. You invited me to your banquet. You gave me a plate. The buffet is in front of me, and you've asked me to fill your plate for as long as you want. There's no shortage tonight. You could fill your plate 10, 20, 30 times. Doesn't matter. Let's not be those individuals, who ask a penny from a king. Who ask a penny from a king. You're standing in front of the king. Maybe you'll never get this chance again. He's saying, what can I give you? And you ask for a penny. Somebody will say, dude, this is your opportunity. Make the most of it. Right? And making the most of it is up to you. It's your path. The Prophet says, worship Allah to the best of your ability. Okay, I get it. We're doing it as a family, maybe. We're doing it, beside our spouse, with our kids, for example. Absolutely, everybody else has it. But what you ask for, what you're able to gain from this night, is completely dependent on your journey. On your journey. Okay, we all have our own respective journeys. We all have our own experiences, our own fears, our own triggers, our own trauma, all of that now, our own scars, our own pain, all of that we're bringing to God tonight. And if nothing else, we drop off those triggers at his door and leave, then we, of course, have come out of this night a little bit better than when we walked in. Okay, now, in my last 10 minutes of my lecture, I just want to go through a few of the philosophy, again, for my young guys out there, philosophies of why we do certain acts of the amal. Number one, and yes, I'm leaving a lot out. I understand, the connection that we have between Sahib Amr, meaning Imam Zamana, and this night of Qadr, of course, is very well documented. The angels are descending, right? Are descending onto this earth in this night, and they are right beside you during your amal. They've left the heavens to come and spend this night with all of you. Not just one or two, loads, thousands and thousands and thousands. And where do you think, who is hosting, who's the recipient of these angels? Of course, the Sahib Ahmad, of course, being Imam Zaman. So, remembering our Imam, conversing with our Imam, du'as for our Imam is very important. He's hosting those angels that will take our hajat back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, some, preparation when it comes to the Amal. Those of you who have now done the Amal with me, and this is the night where I truly miss my community. This is not, as much as I love being beside my family and doing the Amal for the past 2 Amals, this is a night where I miss my center. I miss our tent out there. I miss the environment, the faza, the quietness. I miss doing it with my young guys, the beautiful environment. Somebody has, someone's bringing snacks now. Someone has a cup of tea. Somebody has, they're bringing their own janamas from home, right? Such a beautiful environment. I really, really miss that. My heart is empty tonight. But inshallah khair, next year we pray to Allah to remove this pandemic, and we can once again be together. This is a night where now we need to do this together. But khair, it is what it is. The first thing that I'm going to ask you all to do, if you haven't done so already, is to take the part where we say to do ghusl a little bit seriously. Growing up, I remember, okay, ghusl, okay, what's next? I would kind of look over the ghusl part. I didn't quite understand why was the ghusl so important. I remember one time we, in Qom in the Hawza, we had a group, us English-speaking families from the US, from Canada, and from the UK. And every so often now, throughout the year, we would have these big events as families, sometimes a picnic. And I remember one time we all went to Mashhad together. We had a massive group family, I think about 30 to 40 families, hopped on a train now. We grabbed cabins beside each other, and we had a group ziyarat, led by some of the senior ulama who are very well known today. And I was also there with my family. And I remember in our hotel, on the very first night we got there, we had the entire hotel to ourselves. In the lobby, the senior ulama, English-speaking ones, were able to arrange for an alim to come and address us in Mashhad. He talked about, the etiquette of ziyarat. Okay, talked about ghusl, and I've never heard ghusl be described this way. He says to us, don't take the ghusl lightly. Okay, yes, it's, bidahir, on the apparent, you're being clean now, you're entering God's banquet. Whenever we go to anyone's walima, or someone invites us to, let's say, a massive banquet or a massive wedding, we'll shower, we'll get ready, we'll look amazing. We're also saying, look, God, I'm going to enter your banquet, I want to make sure that I'm clean. That's fine, that's apparent. But the batin is something else. He says, think about when you start your ghusl, the first spot that hits your head, the first spot of water that hits your head is right in the middle of the head, he says. He says that's where our thoughts reside. That's where our fikr resides. That's where our source of contemplation resides. Think about what you're doing. The very first drop of water, water can be seen here as life, or water can be seen here as a cleaning agent, as a purifying agent. It hits your head, and symbolically what Allah is saying, that look, before you even enter my banquet, do ghusl, meaning what? Clean your thoughts. Begin the process of the contemplation. Clean any dirt that might be the veils for you to be present, right? Hit that water on that head and cleanse the water of any satanic thoughts, distractions, right? That's number one. Ever since then, I took that ghusl very seriously. So if you're able to, after iftar, right after the majlis, let's say, for example, in that 15 minutes that they give you sometimes, you quickly do ghusl, that would be amazing. Number one. Number two, there's 2 rakat salat that we have in the beginning. 14 times we recite Surah Ikhlas. 14 times. As you know, Surah Ikhlas is that encompassing message of Tawheed that represents 1/3 of the Quran. Okay, it's a short surah. Every man, woman, and child has it memorized. The sha'n nuzul that some say, the events that occurred during the revelation of this surah happened when, some say, either an entire tribe, a Jewish tribe, or a Jewish man would ask the Prophet to describe the God you believe in. After a 3-day break, Surah Tawheed was revealed unto the Holy Prophet to tell them, قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٌ. Tell them Allah is unique, Ahad. Now, there's a whole discussion, Ahad, Wahid, uniqueness, what does one mean? It's not my discussion. But what we're trying to do initially is, in the Amal, is set the tone that 14 times now, we remind ourselves, Allah, you are one, you are unique, you are the one. And I'm now building that base of the ma'rifat of Allah through this 1-2 rakat salat. Okay? Now we stand up and Allah Akbar. Hold on 1 second. Think about what you're doing right now. You know, this 2 rakat salat is the opening of the door of the amal. Okay, you're turning the knob now and you're pushing the door in. Okay, this is now where we have to be present in what we're doing. Understand what it means when we say Allahu Samad, right? Imam Hussein alayhi salatu wasalam, 5 different meanings to the word Samad. Right? Sometimes in the English books we see omnipotent. That also has a whole different falsafa behind it. Okay? And then we begin istighfar, of course, and tawbah is the base. Like my ustad would say, if you gain nothing out of this night, but you are able to somehow believe that maybe my sins have been lightened, oh, that's your amal. That's your shabi qadr. If you gain the hope in Allah, that yes, Allah, I have made mistakes, but my sin is powerless when it comes to your mercy. If we're able to get to that moment, not that we have jur'at in our gунah, not that we have the audacity to sin, no, not at all. But the idea that, yes, I'm coming to you as a sinful slave, a mistake-ridden slave, one who constantly, I break my promises to you. I have not been as good with you as you have been with me. But what do? You asked me, call upon me, I'm calling upon you. Right? You told me, Ujibu da'wati da'i idha da'an, that whenever you call upon me, I'll answer your call. So here I am in all of my baggage, asking you to please lighten the load off my shoulders. Release me from this guilt that I have. How do I know Allah is forgiven? Has forgiven me? One of the ways that we understand, ulama tell us, is that if we see tabdili in our character, change in our character. If now, from tomorrow and the next day, and give it a few days now to kind of marinate, we see a change in our worldview, a change in our behavior with our kids and our spouse, a change in our patience, a change, then know that the night of Qadr was a good night for you. Might not happen 2 days after, but at that night now, we cannot begin the amal unless, of course, we first manifest Allah as one, and then we ask Allah, please forgive me. Now, this inclusion of the word Rabb in my 2 minutes now. Astaghfirullah Rabbi wa atubu ilayh. A lot of people ask, that's redundant, Asad. Why do we do this and that? Remember, if we understand what Rabb means, Rabb sometimes in English is translated as Lord, right? Rububiyah is lordship of Allah. It's a horrible translation. It's the sweetness of the English language. Rabb literally means someone who is a nurturer, right? Within the word Rabb, you have Allah being your Murabbi, your Murshid, your Mun'im, your Qayyim, all these things, right? Your flourisher, your nourisher, right? Your bestower, all these things. Looking to grow, looking to help you grow. It's a very endearing, loving term that we use for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The very first term Allah uses to introduce himself to his Habib in the cave of Hira is Rabb. Ikra rabbika alladhi khalaq. Read in the name, Isma Rabbi, read in the name of your Lord. He says Lord. So what are we asking now? Allah, look, if the first dhikr we have, astaghfirullah wa atubu ilayh, was not enough for you now, my sins are heavier still, I'm coming at you now, and now I'm asking you for the sake of your rububiyah. You anger somebody, you make somebody upset, and you apologize to them. You approach them for forgiveness. And either it's a very cold approach, look, I'm sorry, okay? Are you okay now? I'm sorry. Or you come at you and you come to the person and say, look, you're my best friend. You are, a close sibling of mine. You are, my loving, endearing spouse, let's say, for example. Use all these endearing, and you truly mean it. the chances of forgiveness in the latter is higher than the former. And then, of course, the Quran, Amal, the beautiful Quran, Amal. Quran on our heads, tears in our eyes, the heart being soft, and the dhikr of Ali Muhammad one by one on our lips. At that moment, the doors are wide open for our hajat. If I had more time, I'd talk about du'as, etiquette of du'a, but I don't have any more time left. It's important, my sisters and my brothers, this is a golden opportunity. Use this night to revive yourself. Use this night now to connect with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Understand your capacity. God's given you that opportunity to now write your own destiny. Don't be afraid. Don't be anxious. Don't have spiritual guilt. Do the best you can. Allah is the one who accepts very little when He makes somebody His beloved. We ask you, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to accept our amal tonight. Please allow us to truly benefit to the best of our ability. We'll be tired, we'll be distracted, our mind will wander, but know that we want to make the best of this night. Please look at us through the eyes of your mercy and not the eyes of your justice. And finally, Allah, we ask you on this night, there are many marhumin who are no longer with us. If you're doing the amal and there's a spot beside you that is missing, I ask you, Allah, to elevate that marhum or that marhuma, inshallah, and make them now stand beside the Imam when they come. Iltimas dua, wassalamu alaikum, rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله، أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله، أشهد أن محمد رسول الله، أشهد أن محمد رسول الله، أشهد أن علي ولي الله، أشهد أن علي حجة الله. حي على الصلاة، حي على الصلاة، حي على الفلاح، حي على الفلاح، حي على خير العمل، حي على خير العمل. الله أكبر، الله أكبر، لا إله إلا الله، لا إله إلا الله.
Assalamu alaikum. The
کسی بھی اہم امر کے پیش آنے، مصیبت کے نازل ہونے اور رنج و غم و اندوہ کے موقع پر حضرت امام زین العابدین علیہ السلام کی دعا۔
بسم اللہ الرحمن الرحیم۔
شروع نام سے اللہ کے جو بڑا مہربان نہایت رحم کرنے والا ہے۔
یا من تحل به عقد المکارم ویا من یفأ به حد الشدائد۔
اے وہ جس کے ذریعے ناگوار حالات کے عقدے کھل جاتے ہیں، اور اے وہ جس کے سبب سے سختیوں کی باڑھ کند ہو جاتی ہے۔
ويا من يلتمس منه المخرج إلى روح الفرج ذلت لقدرتك الصعاب۔
اور اے وہ جس سے وسعت و اطمینان کی طرف جانے کا راستہ مانگا جاتا ہے، تیری قدرت کے سامنے سختیاں نرم ہو گئیں۔
وتسببت بلطفك الأسباب وجرى بقدرتك القضاء۔
اور تیرے ہی لطف سے اسباب فراہم ہو گئے اور تیری ہی قوت سے فیصلے نافذ ہو گئے۔
ومضت على إرادتك الأشياء فهي بمشيتك دون قولك مؤتمرا۔
اور تیرے ہی ارادے سے تمام چیزیں چل رہی ہیں، کہ وہ تیری مشیت کی بلا کہے پابند ہیں،
وبإرادتك دون نهيك منزجرا أنت المدعو للمهمات وأنت المفزع في الملمات،
اور تیرے ارادے کے سامنے بغیر منع کیے ہوئے رکی ہوئی ہیں۔ تو ہی ہے جسے اہم امور میں پکارا جاتا ہے، اور تو ہی ہے جس سے مشکلات میں پناہ مانگی جاتی ہے۔
لا يندفع منها إلا ما دفعت ولا ينكشف منها إلا ما كشفت،
کوئی مصیبت تیرے بغیر رفع نہیں ہو سکتی ہے، اور کوئی مشکل تیرے بغیر حل نہیں ہو سکتی ہے۔
وقد نزل بي يا رب ما قد تكأدني ثقل وألم بي ما قد بهضني حمل،
اس وقت میرے اوپر وہ مصیبت نازل ہو گئی ہے جس کے بوجھ نے مجھے تھکا دیا ہے، اور وہ آفت آ پڑی ہے جس کی سنگینی نے مجھے عاجز کر دیا ہے۔
وبقدرتك أوردته علي وبسلطانك وجهته إلي،
تو نے ہی اسے اپنی قدرت سے وارد کیا ہے، اور تو نے ہی اپنی طاقت سے اس کا رخ میری طرف موڑ دیا ہے۔
فلا مصدر لما أوردت ولا صارف لما وجهت ولا فاتح لما أغلقت،
اور اب وارد ہو جانے والے کو نکالنے والا، اور آنے والے کو موڑنے والا، اور بند دروازوں کا کھولنے والا،
ولا مغلق لما فتحت ولا ميسر لما عسرت ولا ناصر لمن خذلت،
اور کھلے راستوں کا بند کرنے والا، اور مشکلات کا آسان کرنے والا، اور بے سہارا کی امداد کرنے والا تیرے علاوہ کوئی نہیں ہے۔
فصل على محمد وآله وافتح لي يا رب باب الفرج بطولك،
لہذا محمد و آل محمد پر رحمت نازل فرما، اور میرے لیے اپنے کرم سے سکون کا دروازہ کھول دے۔
واكسر عني سلطان الهم بحولك وأنلني حسن النظر فيما شكوت،
اور میری خاطر اپنی قوت سے رنج و غم کا زور توڑ دے۔ میں نے جس بات کی فریاد کی ہے اس کے لیے اپنی بہترین نظر عنایت فرما دے۔
وأذقني حلاوة الصنع فيما سألت وهب لي من لدنك رحمة وفرجا هنيئا،
اور جس چیز کا سوال کیا ہے اس میں بہترین سلوک فرما، اور مجھے اپنی طرف سے رحمت اور خوشگوار سکون عطا فرما۔
واجعل لي من عندك مخرجا وحيا ولا تشغلني بالاهتمام عن تعاهد فروضك،
اور مشکلات سے نکلنے کا فوری راستہ بتا دے۔ مجھے مشکلات کی فکر میں مبتلا ہو کر واجبات کے خیال
واستعمال سنتك فقد ضقت لما نزل بي يا رب ذرعا،
اور مستحبات کے استعمال سے غافل نہ ہونے دینا کہ میں اس نازل ہونے والی مصیبت کی بنا پر تنگ دل ہو گیا ہوں۔
وامتلأت بحمل ما حدث علي هما وأنت القادر على كشف ما منيت به،
اور اس حادثے کا بوجھ اٹھانے کی بنا پر رنج و غم سے بھر گیا ہوں، اور تو اس بلا کے ٹالنے پر قادر ہے جس میں میں مبتلا ہو گیا ہوں.
ودفع ما وقعت فيه فافعل بي ذلك وإن لم أستوجبه منك يا ذا العرش العظيم.
اور اس مصیبت کو دفع کر سکتا ہے جس میں واقع ہو گیا ہوں، تو اب یہ کرم فرما دے اگرچہ میں اس کا حقدار نہیں ہوں، اے عرش عظیم کے مالک.
Assalamu alaikum. The Al-Mahdi Islamic Community Center Building Project Team is excited to announce that we are ready for construction. After the lockdown, we will evaluate the COVID situation, mobilize, and begin construction. Located at Markham Road and Steeles Avenue, this new center will be easily accessible from all areas of the GTA. This amazing 55,000 square foot community center consists of large prayer halls, a massive gymnasium, a recreation center for youth and seniors, a modern nursery for kids, classrooms, conference rooms, mortuary, and much more. This new state-of-the-art facility will be the hub of activities for youth, adults, and seniors. Opportunities and benefits for generations to come, insha'Allah. Phase 1, the complete covered structure of the center, including the main services required for partial occupancy, will have an estimated cost of $11.4 million. Financially, we are pleased to announce that we have $2.6 million in the bank. We have $700,000 in pledges that we will receive upon the beginning of construction. We have $2 million in a no-interest loan from a donor, and the bank will provide a construction loan for $3 million. We will be in a deficit of $3.1 million. So in the name of Almighty, we invite you to become a part of this amazing Sawab-e-Jariyah. Please donate to help with the construction of Al-Mahdi Islamic Community Center. On this blessed night, please sponsor a musalla for $1,500 or a brick for $500 in honor of your marhumeen. Let's work together to make this center a reality. Donate at cig.ca/donate.
السلام علیکم مومنین و مومنات. تھینک یو سو مچ فار جوائننگ اس ٹونائٹ. آج شب قدر ہے. آپ سب سے گزارش ہے کہ ادارے کو، ہمارے تمام علماء کو، پورے کمیونٹی ممبرز کو اور والنٹیئرز کو، سب کو آپ پلیز اپنے دعاؤں میں یاد رکھیں اور اللہ تعالیٰ اس دنیا سے اس وبا کا خاتمہ کرے انشاءاللہ. مومنین پلیز کنٹینیو ٹو کنٹریبیوٹ ٹورڈز دا رمضان کیمپین. آپ لوگ پروگرامس کو اسپانسر کر سکتے ہیں. اسپانسرشپ کا ہدیہ $200 ہے. تھینک یو. اور مومنین ہمارے پاس فاتحہ کے لیے ناموں کی لسٹ ہے. آپ لوگوں سے درخواست ہے کہ آپ لوگ فاتحہ خوانی فرمائیں اور ہم مرحومین کے نام لیتے ہیں. الفاتحہ. Name of the marhumeens are as follow: Maulana Sayyid Sajjad Hussain, Sayyid Rafaqat Ali Naqvi, Sayyid Tilaqat Ali, Sayyida Nafisun Nisa Naqvi, Sayyida Akhtar Naqvi, Sayyida Anwari Naqvi, Sayyid Aqil Naqvi, Sayyid Shabbir Hussain Naqvi, Sayyid Kazim Raza Fasyul Hasan Naqvi, Sayyida Rafiqun Nisa Ayman Majida, Sayyid Sitte Hasan Naqvi, Abdul Sattar Mistri, غوث محمد خان, سید محمد طاہر رضوی, مہر النساء بیگم, سید جعفر موسوی, سید محمد موسوی, رشیدہ موسوی, سید نوش رضا نقوی, علی پرویز زیدی, ارشاد حسین, سیدہ قاضی, شبیر شیر علی, مرحومین of سکینہ and صداقت علی نقوی, سید قاسم حسن, ہاشمی بیگم, سید وفی احمد, سید افتخار, سید آل حسن, مریم بی بی, زبیدہ خاتون, نسیم اختر, غلام حیدر بھٹی, سردار علی بٹ, قاسم علی بٹ, قربان علی بٹ, امت الفاطمہ, سید سرور حسین کاظمی. ان مزید نام باقی ہیں. آپ لوگ ایک دفعہ اور فاتحہ پڑھ لیں پلیز. الفاتحہ. امت الفاطمہ, سید سرور حسین کاظمی, سید صادق حسین کاظمی, سید لیاقت حسین کاظمی, سید امامت حسین کاظمی, सैयद मुख्तार हुसैन काज़मी, सैयद बलागत हुसैन काज़मी, सैयद रियाजत हुसैन काज़मी, सैयद वज़ीर हसन काज़मी, सैयद अनवर हसन काज़मी, सैयद ताहिर हुसैन काज़मी, सैयद नासिर हुसैन काज़मी, सैयद हसन मुश्तबा काज़मी, सैयद वक़ार हुसैन काज़मी, सैयद परवेज़ मेहदी, सैयद असगर मेहदी काज़मी, मुश्ताक हैदर, गुलाम अब्बास अमरसी, सैयदा निसार बानो, सैयदा साबरा बानो, सैयदा शाहिदा बानो, सैयदा जाफरी बानो, सैयदा शमीम बानो, आबदी बेगम, सैयदा नौशबा हसन, लैला बहन अमरसी, परवेज सुल्ताना, रानी बीबी, हुसैन नज़र अली पंजू, मरहूमीन ऑफ अब्बास रजवी, मरहूमीन ऑफ जावेद अकबर सैयद, मरहूमीन ऑफ शाहाना जाफरी, मरहूमीन ऑफ हसन आबदी, मरहूमीन ऑफ नरगिस भट्ट एंड एहसान भट्ट, मरहूमीन ऑफ अकबर फैमिली, मौलाना सैयद हसन अब्बास रजवी, सैयदा तस्कीन फातिमा रजवी, सफदर मिर्ज़ा, मिर्ज़ा मोहम्मद अली बेग, आबिदी बेगम, इम्तियाज़ रहना, शौदा इस्लाम एंड ऑल मरहूमीन, तमाम मरहूमीन नाज़रीन की और हमारे तमाम मरहूमीन की अल्लाह इन तमाम मरहूमीन की मग़फ़िरत फरमा दे, इस शब क़दर में सबको बख्श दे इंशाअल्लाह। अल्लाहुम्मा सल्लि अला मुहम्मद व आले मुहम्मद व अज्जिल फ़रजहुम।
Assalamu alaikum. The Al Mahdi Islamic Community Center Building Project Team is excited to announce that we are ready for construction. After the lockdown, we will evaluate the COVID situation, mobilize, and begin construction. Located at Markham Road and Steeles Avenue, this new center will be easily accessible from all areas of the GTA. This amazing 55,000 square foot community center consists of large prayer halls, a massive gymnasium, a recreation center for youth and seniors, a modern nursery for kids, classrooms, conference rooms, mortuary, and much more. This new state-of-the-art facility will be the hub of activities for youth, adults, and seniors. Opportunities and benefits for generations to come, insha'Allah. Phase 1, the complete covered structure of the center, including the main services required for partial occupancy, will have an estimated cost of $11.4 million. Financially, we are pleased to announce that we have $2.6 million in the bank. We have $700,000 in pledges that we will receive upon the beginning of construction. We have $2 million in a no-interest loan from a donor, and the bank will provide a construction loan for $3 million. We will be in a deficit of $3.1 million. So in the name of Almighty, we invite you to become a part of this amazing Sawab-e-Jariyah. Please donate to help with the construction of Al Mahdi Islamic Community Center. On this blessed night, please sponsor a musalla for $1,500 or a brick for $500 in honor of your marhumeen. Let's work together to make this center a reality. Donate at cig.ca/donate.
Assalamu alaikum Mu'mineen. Now we are going to stop the streaming on our Mahdi Youth YouTube channel, and whoever are watching on the Mahdi Youth YouTube channel right now are requested to switch to our Al Mahdi Community Center YouTube channel. If you find difficulty in finding which channel it is, when you type Al Mahdi Community Center, look for this photo over here, and this is going to guide you, and that is our channel, inshallah. And now I request Maulana Sayyid Zaki Bakri to address the Mu'mineen. Maulana, Bismillah.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. وفوض أمري إلى الله إن الله بصير بالعباد ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم.